What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Options Income Strategist channel here. If you're a shareholder of Nordic American Tankers, ticker symbol NAT, then I've got a great option strategist for you that you can use month in and month out and keep making hundreds of dollars as the monthly income. Okay, now if you've ever heard the term buy the rumor, sell the news, or in other words, buy the rumor, sell the hype, the Nordic American Tankers was a perfect example of it. Okay, so back at the end of March or the beginning of April, you probably heard of a lot of YouTubers and probably your friends talking about NAT stock, thinking, hey, with the oil glut, all this oil has to be stored somewhere. And so all these tanker stocks like NAT, DHT, all these companies are what are benefiting from this oil glut. So a lot of people started piling into Nordic American Tankers. That is buying the rumor. And it kept going up, up, and up. And around April 24th, the CEO of NAT got on to Jim Cramer's Mad Money and talked about how they're making a lot of money and that this is a perfect time for them to raise the dividend, pay off all their debt, and it looked like NAT is going to do amazing going forward. What is that? That is called the news. That is around April 24th. As you can see, as soon as the news came out, the stock ran up really quickly, all the way from $5.40 to $7.34. I think at an all-time high it was a lot higher than that, but I think at one point during after hours it reached as high as $9. But if you believe in this phrase, buy the rumor, sell the news, this around any time between these few days, if not at the perfect peak, would have been the perfect time to sell, because all these people piled up into it, and everyone who started buying into it around this range raked in tons of profit where they probably doubled or tripled their money, and this would have been the perfect time to sell out. And once it's on the news, what does that tell you? It tells you that this is no more an under the radar stock, and a lot of people have already piled into it, and that's why all the people who bought in here start selling out of it, and it kept going down and down and down, and it hasn't still recovered even though it's been 3 months. Now eventually it might. There's a lot of news about how the NAT is raising their rates at this point. If it recovers, that's great. But if it doesn't, and you're one of those people who bought in shares like me at an average cost of $5.40, hoping that this is going to keep riding up and how it might reach back to $15, $16 where it traded at back in 2015 and 2016, then this is for you. Now, if you're holding onto the shares just like me, hoping for a recovery, or at least if not the recovery, that you would get paid monstrous dividends every quarter for the next few years, hopefully, and you don't want to sell out at a loss, then this is a great strategy that you can use to make a monthly income on top of dividends, okay? So let me show you what happened in my case. So I bought in at $5.40 back on April around the 23rd or 24th, and I saw that it went up a ton within 2 days. I bought these $5.50 calls in April. If you look at the history of it, I remember seeing it way up here back at the end of April, which was when I should have sold out. I remember seeing that I had 135% profit on this call within 5 days, but I got too greedy. I thought it's going to keep going up. I didn't want to miss out on profits, and I didn't listen to my own strategy about selling the news. And I kept holding on, thinking it was going to recover. But as you can see, I put in $532 for 4 of these calls. Now they're only $120. So I'm down $412, which is 77% on it, which is depressing. But to recover all the initial cost that I put in to open these calls and the 400 shares, the strategy that I'm using are what are called covered calls and cash secured puts. Okay, so if you watched my previous video, I talked about covered calls. A quick recap here is a covered call is a strategy where you're selling a call to open the options contract while you already own at least 100 shares of that stock as collateral. Okay, and what you want to do is you want to keep selling calls at a higher strike price and keep collecting the premium as long as the price of the stock doesn't reach the strike price of the call that you sold. Okay, so what does that mean? NAT is trading at $4.37 now. So I sold 8 of these $5 NAT calls expiring on August 21st. I collected a credit of $318, and as you can see, because NAT is still falling, the value of this call keeps dropping, and as long as it stays below $5 by August 21st, I get to keep the full $318. Okay? Now, the reason I could sell 8 calls is because I use 4 of these calls to convert it into a spread, and I used 400 more shares of NAT as collateral, which is how it became a covered call. Okay? Now, another thing I did was I also sold 4 of these $4 puts, which is the cash ticket put strategy, and I got a credit of $204 for it. Now, what this does is, if NAT stays above $4 by August 21st, then this put would expire worthless, and I get to keep the full $204 premium. If it does go below $4, then I would get assigned to buy 400 shares of NAT at $4 a share. And what that would do is, now I would own 800 shares instead of just 400. My average cost would be down to $4.70. And now with their current dividend of 20 cents per share, if I own 800 shares, that would pay me $160 per quarter if it stays the same for however long. Okay, but if it doesn't, then I would keep the $204 premium for selling these 4 puts, plus the $318 credit that I got for selling 8 of these calls, for a total credit of $522. Okay, now if NAT stays between $4 and $5, both of these calls and puts that I sold would expire worthless, and I get to keep the full $522 credit. Okay. Now, if you can see here, right now it says that I'm down 2,020%, which is ridiculous. But the reason it says that is because these calls, I bought them at $532. Then the calls and puts that I sold gave me a credit of $522. And now the value of this whole options chain is minus $192. So it's assuming that I'm down $202 on a $10 purchase, which is how it's calculating this percentage. But this doesn't make sense at all, because as I keep selling more sells or puts, once these expire, this will keep coming down, and eventually I'll start making a profit. Now, how long can I do this? I can literally do this forever. Okay. Now, let's say next month NAD does recover, and if it's getting close to $5, all I would do is I would buy back 8 of these $5 calls, and I'll sell 8 of the $5.50 calls. I'll get a lower credit from it, but it will still ensure that those calls expire worthless, and I keep the full collateral. I keep the full premium. Okay? Now I can literally do this month in and month out. I got a $522 credit for these 12 options that I sold. I can do this in August for options that expire in September. I can do this in September for options expire in October. And month in and month out, I could potentially collect $500+ per month by selling calls and selling puts and just using the shares that I own as collateral. Okay? Now, the reason I chose August 21st is because the ex-dividend date for NAT right now is August 27th. Now, if I get assigned the shares on August 21st, that's perfect, because I will end up owning 800 shares before the ex-dividend date, and then I would get paid a $160 dividend for owning 800 shares. But if it doesn't matter. I still keep the full premium. Okay? So if you're one of those people who is holding out just for the dividends at this point, and on top of the dividend, by selling options, you can still keep making hundreds of dollars potentially as a monthly income pretty much. Okay. Now this is because I own only 400 shares. Now, if you're one of those people who put in a lot more, say you own 1,000 shares or 4,000 shares, you can just multiply this by 10, right? So for selling 8 of these calls and 4 of these puts, I got a $522 credit. But if you own 4,000 shares, it would have given you 10 times the credit. Okay. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. This is a great strategy that you can use if you're a shareholder of NAT and you're holding out for just the dividends instead of getting a quarterly dividend while the share price potentially keeps dropping. You can keep collecting this monthly premium from selling options and never worry about just these paper losses as long as you don't sell your shares. Okay? I hope that helps out. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do, please do hit the like button. That would help out the channel. I want to reach other people as well, so please do that. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already and hit the notification bell. And if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment below and I will answer each and every single one of them. Okay? Thank you for watching. Take care.